From Hollywood time once again for Money TV, I'm Don Baillargeon. Thanks for joining us. Money TV is the program all about money and what makes it happen. And what's happening this week is Washington is a buzz over the news of the Mueller indictments, and the lamestream media couldn't be more pleased with the situation or with themselves. After all, the world now has positive, irrefutable proof the Trump campaign colluded with Russia to sway the 2016 election. Therefore, Trump's an illegitimate president. And he should just do the honorable thing and resign to save the country from a long and protracted impeachment battle and conviction. It's just that simple, right? Well, maybe not so much. Take a chill pill, CNN. Unwad your undies, MSNBC, because all that glitters is not gold, or in this case, fool's gold. The Manafort indictment centers on events that occurred well before and outside of the Trump presidential campaign. Manafort allegedly acted as an unregistered agent of Ukrainian officials between 2006 and 2015. He generated tens of millions of dollars in personal wealth while acting on behalf of a foreign government. It's alleged more than $74 million flowed through offshore accounts. Manafort alone laundered more than $18 million, which was used to buy property, goods, and services in the U.S. Manafort concealed that income from the U.S. Treasury and the Department of Justice. So in other words, Manafort was a very bad boy. But can someone please tell me what any of this has to do with Trump running for president? As far as I can see, the bad news for Trump as a result of the Mueller indictments was the fact the story completely wiped from the headlines any mention of the Democratic National Committee paying $9.2 million for the infamous and fake Russian Trump dossier, or the news about a Russian company and U.S. uranium deals tied to $500,000 paid to Bill Clinton or $145 million paid to the Clinton Foundation. Big stories last week, non-stories this week. Probably a coincidence, but fact nonetheless. The fight is far from over, and it's going to be fun to watch. Trump has been attacking what he calls the swamp. This week, the swamp struck back. Here's something you always want to remember is our toll-free number, good from anywhere in the world you're watching the program. Again, toll-free from anywhere in the world, 888-259-4449, to get free information about our featured guests. When you do call, be sure and ask to be added to the subscription list of our Money TV newsletter. It is also free. Again, toll-free from anywhere in the world, 888-259-4449. Visit us at MoneyTV.net. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Well, our first guest this week joins us on the phone from Vancouver, BC, Mr. Brad Moynes. Brad is the CEO of a company called Digitrade Financial Corporation. Their stock symbol is DIGAF. Brad, welcome to the program.
Great. Thank you for having me, Don.
Well, we're very pleased to be initiating coverage of the company, be following you over the next several weeks very closely. Why don't you tell us again what the company does?
Right. Digitrade Financial is a publicly traded cryptocurrency Bitcoin exchange. And what that does is it allows our customers and users to go onto the platform and register via a simple email registration process, fund their digital wallets, and ultimately have access to various cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ripple, Ethereum, and other digital assets.
Well, what's really fascinating about this whole Bitcoin and cryptocurrency industry, and then this is a probably well overused statistic that you're probably tired of hearing of, but I'm going to say it anyway. But if someone had bought $100 worth of Bitcoin in 2010, isn't it worth like $75 or $80 million today?
Well, the growth of the cryptocurrency Bitcoin as a store of value has really been something spectacular. It would be on a growth curve whereby it could be into new high digits in the $10,000 range. So, Bitcoin definitely has had a very strong growth to it here over the last year, and mostly is contributed to mainstream adoption and institutional money now flowing into the sector.
Well, tell us, give us a little bit of Bitcoin 101. Explain to us in layman's terms what Bitcoin's all about, if you would, please.
Right. Well, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency or digital asset. It is the native token or fuel that powers the blockchain. The blockchain is a decentralized ledger that is run globally on the internet. And what that does is it basically allows end users to do transactions amongst themselves by eliminating all intermediaries and counterparty risk. The transactions, when they're completed, are essentially very low cost and almost instantly processed. So the Bitcoin token is what completes each transaction on the blockchain network.
It's really fascinating. As I mentioned, we've initiated coverage of the company. We're following you very closely over the next several weeks. We have a long interview coming with you from the studio next week. Looking forward to that. Again, fascinating story. Brad, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Don.
Take care. And joining us in studio now is Mr. Mike Manahan. He's a spokesman for EPAZ Incorporated. Their stock symbol is EPAZ. Mike, always good to see you.
Than's, Don. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, we're going to stay on the subject of Bitcoin. We were just talking about that a moment ago. Your company has an app, the ZenaPay app, which is going to be used to use cryptocurrency to pay in cannabis dispensaries. Tell us about that.
Yeah, exactly. As anybody who's following the cannabis industry knows, the traditional banking system will not bank the cannabis business. In fact, I was having lunch just this week with a senior vice president, one of the big business banks here in California, and he's telling me, look, if we even have a hint, he says, if you even own a building and you rent out the building to a cannabis grower, we're basically calling your mortgage. It's that serious. The traditional banking industry will not bank cannabis stores. Yet the industry is exploding, as we know. 29 states now where we have legalized marijuana, either for medical or recreational purposes. That equates to thousands and thousands of dispensaries. How do they get paid? Well, right now it's all cash. But with the ZenaPay application, customers will be able to pay using Bitcoins. Basically, you download the app onto your phone, get it at the App Store. When you go into the cannabis store, you purchase using your credit card, you purchase Bitcoins, you then pay the proprietor in Bitcoins, and the proprietor can then use those Bitcoins either to pay his suppliers or alternatively can turn them into cash. So it's just an ideal solution to get around this cumbersome, awkward, antiquated banking regulations we have with respect to cannabis.
Well, it has to do with the fact that banks are federally regulated and marijuana is federally illegal, and that's the conundrum, so to speak, right?
That's exactly the conundrum, and the federal government controls the entire banking system, and the last thing you want to do as a bank is get in trouble with the federal government because they wield a lot of power. So, so that is the big issue.
So as you mentioned, up to now, until the app became available, these dispensaries were required to deal in cash. And that becomes dangerous.
Tremendously dangerous. I mean, I've heard of some of these dispensaries having hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash. Well, of course, the crooks know that, so they have to have people may wonder, why is it when you go into a cannabis dispensary, it's like going into Fort Knox, you've got to press buzzers, they look at you on a camera. Why all that security? The reason is because those places have tons of cash.
Well, it's kind of interesting because, you know, for people who are unfamiliar with a cannabis dispensary, you think of a seedy little place somewhere on the back end of town, but they're actually like Van Cleef and Arpels or Tiffany stores. I mean, they're actually quite extensively decorated and, as you mentioned, very high security.
Yeah, and also, particularly in California where the medical marijuana is currently legal, a lot of them look like a pharmacy. I mean, they're clean, the products are all very well organized, they're well labeled, the people behind the counter are able to give you some information as to which type of cannabis product might be best for your medical issue and your medical problem.
Now, of course, the ZenaPay app is dual mode, one for the consumer and one for the merchant as well. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, you know, it's obviously you need both sides of it.
Right.
So the merchant will have on the merchant's computer, whether it's a tablet or an iPad or what have you, will have the ZenaPay application so that they can receive the Bitcoins that you're paying for them. And then the merchant has basically a Bitcoin bank, if you will, bank account, and then can use those Bitcoins, again, either to pay the merchant suppliers or alternatively can convert those back into cash.
Now, I understand that you went through a beta testing period with the ZenaPay app. I guess it's live now and available at the App Store?
Yeah, go to the App Store. It's live. It's ready to go. It's usable. And you got to talk about how big this is. So the ZenaPay model is just like the credit card processors who clip a couple of % every time you use your credit card. The ZenaPay app is the same way. EPAZ will actually get money every time somebody uses the ZenaPay app. And right now the numbers are the cannabis industry is about a $6 billion industry. It's projected in the early 2020s to be a $50 billion industry.
Wow. And of course, every time, as you mentioned, that a purchase is made, they're getting a little piece.
They're getting a little piece. It's just every day. As soon as that app is set up in a particular dispensary and the customers start using it, every single day, a small amount of that transaction is going to EPAS.
So the challenge now is to get the app in the hands of consumers and get that in the hands into the app into the hands of merchants in the cannabis industry. How's that coming along?
Well, you know, what we're doing is we're raising $1 million on a crowdfunding campaign, and that money is going to be used, one of the most significant pieces of that money will be used for marketing. But the nice thing about the cannabis industry, it's a very close industry.
Yes.
People talk to each other. I was noticing that one of the major industry publications has already picked up the ZenaPay and featured an article on this particular app. So it's one of those things, very little work is going to be required to really get this out there and for the industry to know about it.
Check it out online at zenapay.com. That's ZENAPAY.com. Again, the company is EPAS Incorporated. EPAZ is their stock symbol. Fascinating, Mike. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
And joining us now on the phone is Greg Lambrecht. He's the CEO of Single Point Incorporated, stock symbol SING. Greg, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me, Don.
I know you want to talk about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin this week. We're kind of a Bitcoin-themed program this week. I'm going to let you have the floor. Take it away.
Yeah, well, again, you know, I said on previous shows that we've had programmers working for 6 months on putting together a product that is going to allow the customer to use Bitcoin currency at the dispensaries to purchase cannabis. And the good news is it looks like we're going to have a beta ready for that in a couple weeks, and we plan on showing that at the huge cannabis show that's going to be in Vegas on the 15th, 16th of November.
Well, as you mentioned, we have been talking about this, so now you're ready to roll with it, so to speak?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've put a lot of time and a lot of thought into this. We feel like, you know, no one else is going to have this product. And it's really, to explain how it's going to work, it's going to be very similar to how you have, you know, money on your mobile phone to use at Starbucks. So just use that analogy, but you're going to have Bitcoin currency on your mobile phone, and you're going to be able to use it at a dispensary. So it's very smoothless. Of course, you know, that's easy to say. It's taken a lot of work in the background to get it ready, but we're thinking this is going to be a real game changer.
Well, it ties in specifically with the root of your company, because we've been talking to you for a few years, and you're, you know, primarily an electronic payments company. So this ties in beautifully with what you're already doing.
Well, that's it. So, you know, as you know, and the shareholders know, we've acquired 4 companies this year because, you know, with our ability to raise money and our stock has so much volume. They've all been in the cannabis space, and that's fine. But when it comes to Bitcoin and payments and cryptocurrency, those projects, those in-house revenue streams, we're doing ourselves because that is our expertise.
Now, you're expecting the beta to be ready soon. How long do you expect the beta tested before you go live with it?
Well, I don't think it's going to be a long time. I mean, you know, we'll want to, you know, get it into, you know, 50 customers' phones and get, you know, 25 dispensaries to accept it, and then that way we can get any kinks that we need to out of the way, and once we feel comfortable, then we'll start really introducing it to the whole country.
Once again, the company is Single Point Incorporated, SING. Greg, great update. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Go Sting.
I've had this problem.
Big problem.
I really needed
a good investment forum.
And I kept searching and searching.
There are so many choices.
It's really hard to find one that has all the things on my list.
But I finally did it.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
If you were looking for one as well,
look no further.
Here's a really good one.
Just use mine.
Use mine.
I'm very satisfied.
Definitely recommend. Problem gone.
thank you.
Have you heard the news? There's only one flat-fee news distribution network on the market. It's called Access Wire, and it's exclusively from Issuer Direct. Any day, anytime, the Access Wire News Network can deliver your press release to more than 1,500 media outlets in 98 countries. Access Wire also delivers real-time engagement analytics. You will learn who read and shared your press release and more. Best news of all, getting started is easy. Visit accesswire.com and extend your company's news reach today.
Hi, we're back. Thanks for staying with us and joining the phone now by Tom Djokovic. Tom is the CEO of XNX Incorporated. Their stock symbol's XSNX. Tom, welcome back to the program.
It's great to be back, Don. Thanks.
Well, Tom, we have been seeing some days with enormous trading volume going on in the stock. Tell us what's going on.
Well, Don, I think just in general, the solar market, where we focus in the sale of commercial solar systems and solar carports and truck ports, things like that, and we've added the aspect of energy storage to our product group, and we're just getting a lot of interest for that. And I think overall the market's probably seeing that the potential for energy storage is really turbocharging solar, and a lot of opportunity for growth there.
Well, it's really remarkable because we've talked with you about this now for the last couple of years, and you've been so innovative with your solar carports and your solar truck ports, energy storage on top of that. I mean, it really gives a lot of options to the commercial accounts that you're seeking, doesn't it?
Well, it really does, Don. I mean, we, as an example, we have a pastry manufacturer, a pastry dough manufacturer who doesn't have anywhere near enough roof space for what they need solar power-wise, so we were able to offer them the addition of the solar carports out in their parking area to get them much closer to offsetting all of their energy needs, and then on top of that, offering the energy storage to offset how much power they're using at night, so they could really amplify the value of that solar energy they create during the day by then using it at night to power things and further reduce their bills.
Well, it's kind of well timed too, because of course you're headquartered in Southern California, and just about everybody in Southern California got the letters recently where the high usage rate tolls are going to be going up significantly. You can help offset that with your solar power installations, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. That's where the big growth potential is now, and that's where the real value in adding the energy storage is the concept of essentially energy arbitrage, where we're able to take solar power and put it to work when it's the most valuable for the customer rather than just when the sun is shining. And so, that allows us to then look at a customer's use, look at their bill, look at how they're being charged by utility, and really target those areas specifically and offer the most value for the client and the fastest return on their investment. So it's very exciting.
It's pretty exciting when you think about it because, of course, you're still using solar power with energy storage, even though the sun may not be shining that day.
Right, exactly. And that's where the real value lies.
Once again, the company's XNX Incorporated, XSNX is the stock symbol. Tom, great update. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Don. Look forward to speaking with you again.
Take care. Joining in studio now is Matt Shipman. He's the president of Green Chip Investor Relations. Matt, always good to see you.
Glad to be here again, Don.
We continue to see this this battle going on in Washington. They're battling with our money and with the things that are near and dear to us. And we just had this conversation before coming on the air where they're talking now about reducing or even eliminating the mortgage interest deduction.
Well, everybody's positioning themselves for what's going to benefit their constituency. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that's being proposed is something that Trump ran on. He ran on a policy that would cut taxes and provide more jobs, which most presidents run on. But the way he wanted to do it, of course, is going to get really kicked around because of all the negativity and associated with just about everything he does. So, yeah, it's going to be a challenge to approve a plan, although this is part of the reason why the stock market has moved up, was his policies would, cause more growth in the economy.
But the people that are advocating eliminating or reducing the mortgage interest deduction, I mean, they're completely insane because that would absolutely destroy the home industry.
Well, there was talk that they would cut the amount of interest you could deduct on your taxes. And if you're going to start going after that, although it's a lot of money that they could go get, yeah, it's going to hurt. It would hurt the home builders. They said, well, there was a slight sell-off in home building stocks the other day because of this proposal. Well, it's a long way from getting accepted, and voted on. There's going to be some tax reform that is going to probably get approved, but what it looks like at the end of the day,
Well, I think it's untouchable. I think it's the holy grail. I mean, because you talk about home builders, homeowners, home improvement stores, hardware stores. You think about all the different aspects and different industries that the home industry touches. That would all be upset, or in some cases even destroyed, if they were to go that route.
Right, and it has a negative effect in other ways. They think, well, okay, fine, if we got money from there, well, what happens then to rental rates, and things like that? It's going to hurt. So, there's shift of money out there. Of course, the Republicans want to go after inheritance taxes and try to eliminate those again. Democrats want something different. Where you get the money, you still got to get a lot of money out there. What I'd like to see is the government slow down on spending and actually cut spending slightly. Maybe that'll help us pay down the deficit. What are the odds of that ever happening?
Well, Ronald Reagan once famously said that government doesn't tax for the money it needs, it finds need for the money it gets.
That's right. That's right.
And, so if we give them more money, they're just going to find different ways to spend it in things that we really don't need. I mean, every year I do a segment on this program with the most ridiculous things that we spend our money on, and some of them border on the insane.
Yeah, they sure do. They sure do. Well, there's been some strong earnings out from some of the biggest companies, which is why we've seen the market continue to go up. There was a little, there was an expected rate a rate increase from across the pond. I know London, there was announced that they raised interest rates for the first time since 2007. So, if rates do slowly start to increase, that could have slow the market down a little bit. But, usually when rates go up, it means things are getting healthier.
Exactly. Well, now you and I pay a lot of attention to small emerging companies, small microcap companies. I don't really see any of this conundrum affecting it.
I don't. What I do see is there is a limited number of options to go to make a lot of money on stocks. And so the reason I focus and continue to focus on some of the small stocks is those are the ones that can really pay off. You could have a small company increase 5, 6, 10-fold
easily
if they hit a big contract, if they make a big announcement, that can occur. I have 2 companies I've followed for a little bit here over the last few years that I believe in the next 2 to 3 months could be one of those stocks. So I always suggest if your audience wants to contact me, send me an email. I'd be happy to give you those 2 ideas.
Okay, how do they get a hold of you?
They can either email me, matt@greenchipir.com, or you can call me direct. I'll give you my mobile number.
Okay.
310-709-5646. Give me a call. I'd be happy to let you know what they are.
Once again, Matt Chipman, Green Chip Investor Relations. And Matt, always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me on again.
And joining us now on the phone is Dave Massey. Dave is the CEO of Solar Integrated Roofing Corporation. Their stock symbol is SIRC. Dave, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Don. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Well, you guys have had a really busy week. A couple of things I want to cover. One of them, most importantly, is the deal you made with a national home improvement chain. Tell us about that.
We're really excited that we partnered with Lowe's to be their San Diego County roofer of choice. We kind of aligned ourselves with them because they felt like we had excellent customer service that homeowners are looking for in a roof install, and we're excited about the new revenue and the new partnership with them.
Well, of course, everybody's judged by the company you keep. You're keeping company with Lowe's. That's a huge deal for you.
Yes, it is. It's currently local in San Diego, but the opportunity to expand is always there. We're currently only doing roofing. I'm trying to get with the right people to talk to them about opening up a solar plan, and if we could work out something like that, the opportunity is endless at that point.
Okay, another piece of news you folks put out in the recent days was a letter of intent to make a major acquisition, a 12-year-old company. Tell us about that deal.
I'm really excited about it. I personally was involved in this. I met with the young man personally. He's He runs a solar and heating and air company. They've had some past years, pretty nice sales, $5-6 million. They're very capable of getting some big accounts and ramping sales up. We're also excited to get into the heating and air business. It kind of goes hand in hand with solar. A lot of times when people put solar on, they're either doing it because they need a roof or they're doing it because they're putting air conditioning in. So we'll be able to cover both sides of that now. We've done it before, but we use the outside source. Now we're going to have an inside source, which is going to be exciting as well.
Well, that is exciting. Congratulations on that deal. Now, I know we had a conversation before going on the air where you mentioned you're taking on some new young blood, as you called it, some new young guns in the company. You also announced the resignation of a board member. What can you fill us in on the details of that?
Yeah, I mentioned it when I was on the TV show. We had a board meeting this week. We're finalizing the details to bring on the president. We should be able to make his announcement, I hope, in November. Really, really excited about him. He has a ton of experience. He has tons of contacts. Just bringing him along to help me do what we're trying to do with acquisitions is going to be a major move forward for us. And also, one of the existing board members who's gotten a little up in age, he's retiring, and that's going to make room for these new guys coming in. So we hope to bring in the president in November and the COO in January and be able to make those announcements.
Now, you also mentioned that the company is retiring about 10 million shares of stock. What can you tell us about that?
In our meeting this week, we looked at things, and with the old board member retiring, help with the stock price and the stockholders, we decided to retire 10 million shares of stock. At this point, that's about $4 million value. Should really help the stock price. It should help in our goal of getting acquisitions, and it just helps with the plan. I think it helps everybody. I want all the stockholders to know that the stockholders are very important to us, and we look out for the value of the stock until we can all grow together.
Once again, the company is Solar Integrated Roofing Corporation, SIRC. Dave, all I can say is busy week for you. Congratulations. Thanks for the update.
Hey, thanks so much. We're really excited. Thanks for having us on.
Take care. On this week's Money Wrap radio program, we're going to talk about the New York City terror attack. To find a radio station near you or just listen online, go to our website, moneywrap.com. Call us right now, toll-free from anywhere in the world, 888-259-4449 to receive free information about our featured guests. When you do call, be sure and ask to be added to the subscription list of our Money TV newsletter. Again, toll-free from anywhere in the world, 888-259-4449. Be sure and visit us at moneytv.net. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. That's our show this week. As always, we'll be back next week. Thanks so much for joining us.